Hello, this is Owen Fennessy. Welcome to my presentation on the WeatherTop web app. Today I'll be demonstrating the app and then having a look at some of the code that went into it. All features in the spec provided have been implemented. Let's start by having a look at the app in action. Looking first at the home page, we see a menu bar, masthead, some information about the site and some link buttons. Let's look at the login page. Here I'll log in as an existing user, which will redirect me to this user's dashboard. On the dashboard, we can see all of the stations for the user listed in alphabetical order. We also see a map with a marker for each station, and each marker has a pop-up with the station's name on it. For each station, we can see a representation of its latest reading represented on 5 cards. These feature a dynamic icon, weather condition, temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit, Beaufort force, wind direction, wind chill factor, pressure, as well as minimum and maximum recorded temperature, wind speed and pressure, and trend arrows for each. We have a form to add a new station. All fields are required and some checking is done to make sure the values are valid before sending the data to the server. After adding the station, the page is updated with the new station displayed in the correct place alphabetically. We can then delete this station using the delete button, and we can also click on the folder icon to see further information on the station. Let's click on Tremors. Here we see the same cards that we saw on the dashboard. We have a table that shows all readings the station has taken. The table displays date and time, weather code, temperature, wind speed and direction, and pressure for each reading. We can add a new reading using the form below. All fields are required in this form and additional checks are carried out to make sure the values are valid before submitting. After submitting, we can see the table and latest reading cards update, and we can now delete this reading if we wish. We can also auto-generate a reading using this button, which makes a call to the Open Weather Map API using the coordinates of the station as query parameters, and then builds a new reading from the relevant data returned in the response. Charts showing 8-day forecasts for temperature, wind speed and pressure are also generated using data from the Open Weather Map API. Let's now click on the user drop-down menu and go to the account settings page. Here we have options to update the name, email and password for the user, as well as an option to delete the user's account. If we change the user's name, we can see that the greeting above gets updated. Some server-side checks are carried out when updating the password. The update only succeeds if the old password is correct and the new password and confirm password fields match. We can also delete the user from the database, and a cascade has been implemented to also delete all of the user's stations from the database. Let's log out this user, which will redirect us to the home page, and we'll sign up a new user. All fields in this form are required, so the form will not be posted if any of them have been left blank. After signing up, we're redirected to the new user's empty dashboard. If I go back to the home page, you can see the menu stays in the logged in state, unlike earlier where we were given options to sign up and log in. If we go to the About page, we can see some information on the company accompanied by some images. The app has been deployed on Glitch, and you can see on GitHub that we have a commit history as well as tagged releases. Let's now have a look at some of the code. The web app follows the model view controller pattern using the Express framework with Node. HTTP requests are routed to controller functions, which then often interact with models to create, read, update, and delete data from the database. The controller then typically renders a HTML view, often passing in data gathered from the model to be used by the Handlebars templating engine that renders the HTML page. After rendering, the HTML page is then sent to the client. A typical example of this pattern in the WeatherTop app can be seen in the code used to render the user dashboard page. Upon receiving from the client a HTTP GET request with a /dashboard URL, the corresponding controller function for this endpoint in the routing file is called, in this case, the dashboard.index function. This function first retrieves the user's data from the database, then it retrieves the user's stations. Notice that name has been provided for the optional sorted by attribute argument here to return the station sorted in alphabetical order. It then performs some operations on the stations, calling functions to update latest readings and analytics for each, builds a view data object with all the data required for the view, before finally rendering the dashboard.html view, passing in the view data. Then in the view, the templating engine adds all required partials and in the list stations partial, it loops through the list of stations, rendering HTML elements using properties from each station. That's about all we have time to look at now. Thank you for watching.